Hey you guys, well welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm Mindy and this is See Mindy Mom. Today I'm in my kitchen and working around my house, just doing all of the housewife mom life things, and I'm going to be meal prepping 3 different budget dinners. All 3 of these dinners all together only cost me about $20 worth of ingredients from Walmart, so stay tuned if you want to see what I'm doing. Okay, you guys, just kind of a little casual, off-the-cuff, little vloggy type video. I have been doing some budget meals lately, and people really like those videos and have been responding very well, so I thought that I would do a few more for you. Today I'm actually making 3 different recipes. One of them is going to be for dinner tonight, one of them is going to be a lunch prep for my husband and for me, and the other one is a meal that I'm going to save for later on in the week. I have wished so many times that I had something already prepped, like a freezer meal or something that I could just throw, you know, into the oven or on the stove or whatever, or into the crock pot and have it ready to go. I know this sounds crazy, especially during this time when a lot of us are at home and not doing our usual busy scheduled activities, but I have been really pretty busy trying to keep up with the kids, with their schoolwork, trying to keep up with the housework, especially since we're home more now, and I've just wished that I had one of those really convenient meals that's already prepped. So I'm gonna do some of that today. Now, per the usual, I'm gonna show you most of what I'm using in these recipes, but I'm usually not including in my total some kind of cooking oil. You know, most people have their oil of choice, whether it be butter or olive oil or avocado oil or whatever. And I'm also not usually including spices in my overall, you know, budget for these meals. I'm going to assume that you kind of have, you know, your standard spices, garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, chili powder, stuff like that. And some pantry staples. You know, a few of my recipes sometimes call for a tablespoon of flour or half a cup of milk or something like that. If you don't have those things, then you might have to improvise a little bit. I will also leave any recipes that inspired these recipes linked in the description box below. I almost always make adjustments or substitutions to mine, so I'll tell you how I make it, but I'll also leave some links to the recipes that sort of inspire the things that I'm making. So let's get started. I'm going to show you the ingredients that I'm using and the spices and things, and then I'll show you what I'm making and how I'm doing it. Okay, you guys, here are the ingredients that I'm going to use to make these meals. And believe it or not, I'm going to get 3 meals that serve at least 6 people out of the things that you see here. I've got a 3-pound bag of boneless, skinless chicken breasts. These are priced at $5.94 at my Walmart. A 16-ounce box of whole wheat pasta. These are $1 at my Walmart. And a package of whole wheat extra wide egg noodles. These are $1.56 at my Walmart. Now, if you were buying conventional, you know, just white pasta and noodles, that would actually save you a little bit of money because it's usually cheaper. I have a package of frozen cut green beans. These are 80 cents. And then a package of peas and carrots. These are also 80 cents. I've already used a few of mine, but that's okay because I'm still going to have enough for the recipe I'm using them for. A package of cream cheese. This is the 3rd less fat kind. It's $1.33 at my Walmart. A jar of Walmart brand salsa. These are $1.27 at my Walmart. The black beans are 68 cents. I try to buy no salt added if I'm buying canned vegetables. And also a can of whole kernel corn. That's 50 cents at my Walmart. One tiny little thing of Greek yogurt is only 64 cents at my Walmart. That's all I'm going to need. But if you already have this on hand in a big tub, it just needs to be plain Greek yogurt. It can be non-fat if you want it to be. They just have the regular kind. Taco seasoning is only 30 cents at my Walmart, and ranch mix is only 48 cents. Now, I make my own, but I got these just to show you. This is how much it is if you don't want to make your own, and I did include that in the overall price. And then I have a head of romaine lettuce. These are $1.74, and actually this is from a package that I bought, but if you were just buying one, it would be $1.74 and it would actually be bigger. And some garlic and an onion. These are usually around 48 cents, around 62 cents. A pineapple is less than $2 right now. I think it's $1.78 at my Walmart, but strawberries are also in season right now, and they were only $1.66 a pint. I prefer to buy mine organic, but sometimes when you're on a budget, you got to compromise a little bit. But if strawberries aren't in season, I put the pineapple up here because these are, you know, pretty much always in season, and they're usually $2 or less at my Walmart. So all of this is less than $20, and I'm going to get 3 meals out of it. So let me show you how I'm doing that. 2 of my recipes actually call for cooked, shredded, or cubed chicken, and I find the easiest way to cook chicken is in the crock pot. And so this is just 2/3 of that bag of chicken. This is about 2 of those 3 pounds. And I've put it into my crock pot with just some salt and pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of oregano. You can season it however you like. I like to season it just a little bit. If you don't have a crock pot, and lots of people, just like to bake their chicken in the oven, or some people boil it, I find that it makes it a little bit tough. So I prefer just to make it in the crock pot. If you have an instant pot, I know you can make shredded chicken super fast, but I'm going to go ahead and get this going on high, and in about 3 hours, it'll be done. And then I can get tonight's dinner in the crock pot, and I can use the shredded chicken that this yields to make the other 2 recipes, which I will show you. But that's how I'm cooking my chicken. And again, I'm only using 2/3 of my chicken in this. The rest of it I'm going to use for the 3rd recipe. So don't throw your whole bag in here. Make sure you reserve a couple pieces for the 3rd recipe. Okay, so the chicken that I put in the crock pot earlier today is done. I took it out and shredded it and set it aside. Super easy, shredded really easily. I love making shredded chicken in the crock pot, and I'll show you what I'm doing with that in just a couple minutes. But I wanted to go ahead and get dinner for tonight thrown in the crock pot. And by the way, I'm batch cooking because it makes my life a little bit easier, and because it's easier for me to show you guys how I'm using some of these ingredients in multiple dishes. But you can probably make, each of these recipes each night as you need them. I just find it easier to make them all together. And, it's nice to have lunches prepped, or nice to have a meal already ready for later on in the week. So that's why I'm doing it this way. But for tonight, we're having a creamy chicken pasta in the crock pot. I think the original recipe is from a website called 5 Dinners 1 Hour. I'll leave it linked in the description box below. It calls for spaghetti, and I'm using rotini because I didn't want to have to buy another, different kind of pasta, and I wanted to use rotini in the taco pasta salad I'm going to show you in just a minute. Just a couple of other adjustments that I've made. So I have thrown into my crock pot behind me here my last 2 chicken breasts. Remember, I didn't use them all to make shredded chicken. I had 1 pound or about 2 of them left. I've thrown those into the crock pot along with half of my onion diced, a couple of cloves of garlic minced, and 2 tablespoons of my homemade ranch mix, or if you bought the packet of ranch seasoning, that's what you would use. Half of the block of cream cheese that you saw, just half of that cream cheese, and then 3 cups of water plus a couple teaspoons of broth base, or if you have a chicken bouillon cube or something. If you don't have that, you can just use water and just rev up your seasonings a little bit, maybe add some salt and pepper, something like that. I'm going to let that cook on high for about 4 hours, and then about 30 minutes before we're ready to eat it, I will add 8 ounces of my rotini pasta. So 8 ounces is all I have left in here because the other 8 ounces is cooking on the stove back here for one of the other recipes. So about 30 minutes before we're ready to eat, I will shred up the chicken, stir in 8 ounces of pasta, let it cook on high for another 30 to 40 minutes, and voila, we will have dinner. I have made this before. If you've seen maybe in a What I Eat in a Day video or something like that, and everybody really, really likes it. Of course, if you have some shredded cheese to top it, that would be great. If you have some bread lying around, some garlic toast or something like that, but I just served this with a side of veggies. That's what I have the frozen green beans for, and that's dinner tonight, y'all. So I've got some other things going here. Let me turn you around and show you the other 2 recipes that I intend to make with the shredded chicken that you see behind me on the cutting board. Okay, so I'm going to make like a taco pasta salad as a lunch prep. We're coming into the summer months, and I've been trying to think of things that can be eaten hot or cold. And I like pasta salad, but I'm not a huge mayonnaise or mustard fan, and that's a big ingredient in lots of pasta salads or potato salad. So I saw some recipes for like a Southwestern / taco pasta salad dish, and I thought that I would, throw one together based on what I was seeing from various and sundry recipes on Pinterest. So I cooked up 8 ounces of my rotini. I drained it. I put it back in the pot with the other half of my block of cream cheese so that it can kind of melt. And now to that, I'm going to add my can of black beans, which I have rinsed and drained, my can of corn, which I drained and rinsed, about 1 cup of salsa. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of my homemade taco seasoning, but if you needed to use the seasoning packet, you could. This is where you would put that in. And then about half of my shredded chicken that I made earlier today. The other half I'm going to save for the other recipe. So I am just going to stir all of that up. I think I'll also add just a skosh, like maybe a 1/4 cup of water. Just to kind of give that taco seasoning something to mix up with. There you go. There it is all mixed up. Now I am actually going to put this into containers and let it chill. I intend to eat this cold. And what I'm going to do is clean my lettuce. I'm gonna rinse my romaine lettuce, let it dry out, chop it up, and I'm gonna put it into little individual baggies with like half of a paper towel in it so that it'll soak up the moisture and help it stay fresh longer. I will divide this up into little containers, which I will keep in my fridge. And then when we're ready to eat it, we will take one of the little baggies of romaine lettuce and one of the containers of the pasta salad, dump the lettuce on top, and then we'll have this kind of nice, cool, refreshing pasta salad to enjoy. I realize that it's kind of carby, so if you're not a big fan of carbs, you could leave out the beans or the corn, or maybe cut them in half, maybe up the protein content with a little bit more chicken. I was kind of going for something that's really filling and full of fiber that's also very cheap, which is why I use the beans and the corn and the pasta. That way I can stretch it farther. I'm not sure how many servings I'm gonna get out of this, probably at least 6, if not 8 servings, maybe somewhere in the middle, 7 servings, but that's what I intend to do with this. Now, I'm sure if you wanted to, you could eat this dish warm as well. You could just reheat it and maybe even sprinkle on a little cheese or add some tortilla chips, if you've got some of those lying around in your pantry. But this is how we intend to eat it this week, my husband and I, as a lunch prep. So I'll be sure to insert a picture here of all of those nice little containers that I have filled with this and with our lettuce. And, I'm hoping this is going to be really tasty. Okay, so the last meal that I'm gonna make in this meal prep is actually not for tonight. We're probably gonna have it a few nights from now. I am making a recipe that's kind of like a chicken pot pie, but instead of a pie crust, it's got noodles as the starch. And I'll leave the original recipe linked in the description box below. I'm going to mostly follow it, but I'm gonna make just a couple of substitutions and adjustments. And one of the reasons that I like this recipe is because it does not call for a cream soup. I tend to stay away from those. I grew up in a large family. We ate a lot of casseroles made with cream soups or Velveeta, or sometimes both. But for whatever reason, I don't know, they kind of irritate my stomach. I am not a 100% perfectly clean eater, but I do try to limit processed things as much as I can and just try to, keep the kinds of ingredients and the kinds of foods that I'm feeding myself and my family in the forefront of my mind. So I love that this was a recipe that didn't necessarily call for that. So what I have on the stove right now is a pot of water boiling because I'm gonna make my egg noodles. Now this recipe only calls for 10 ounces and I have a 12-ounce bag. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and use them all, and it's okay. It'll stretch a little bit farther if I put more of the noodles in it. So I've just got my onions and my garlic sauteing here in the butter. I'm gonna add in my peas and carrots and let that saute for a few minutes until they soften. Then I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of flour, and then it calls for 1 cup of chicken broth. You guys already know I'm just gonna add water with a little bit of seasoning or some broth base if you have it. Salt and pepper. You let that simmer for a little while and make a sauce, and then I'm gonna throw in the rest of my shredded chicken from earlier and the noodles. Once they're done cooking, I'll drain them and add them in as well. And that's it, basically. You could add some, Italian seasoning, or maybe I'll add a little bit of oregano or parsley or something like that to it just to kick up the flavor a notch. But that's it. Really easy recipe that I'm hoping will be very delicious. I'll show it to you when it's done. You guys, I almost forgot the Greek yogurt. I'm also gonna stir this into this little sauce here. I just added the water and all the other things that I told you about. I'm gonna go ahead and stir this in. I'm gonna bring it up to a simmer and then just let it simmer until it thickens up, and then I'll add my noodles to it and I'll show you. But this is what I am using instead of using heavy cream, which is what the original recipe called for. So it should make it really creamy and add a little bit of tanginess to it. Okay, so here it is finished, and I drained the noodles, put them back in the pot, and then poured the sauce over it. I added my shredded chicken back into the sauce before I did that. And this is what it looks like, and it's actually ready to eat right now. I think it would be really good with a little Parmesan cheese as well, if you have that lying around. But I'm going to put this into a casserole dish and cover it and pop it into the fridge for a couple nights, and then we'll have it sometime later this week, and I'll just reheat it in the oven. Since this has peas and carrots in it, that's why I decided to serve it with a side of fruit. So I showed you a couple of options there. Strawberries are in season here, so they are cheap, but pineapple is usually pretty cheap. You'd just be looking for like a serving of fruit that's under $2. And that's it. That's what the meal is going to be here in a couple of days. And I will thank myself for having made it ahead of time. It's going to be so nice just to be able to have something ready to pop in the oven and feed the family. Okay, so if you're on WW like I am, you probably want to know what the points breakdowns are for these recipes. And as usual, if you make any adjustments, or even if you use different brands of things, you might want to scan all the items and readjust the points. So with the creamy spaghetti, it comes out to just 2 points on purple because the only thing that you have to count is the cream cheese that I used. 6 points on blue because you have to count the pasta that I'm going to use, and 7 points on green because you also have to count the chicken and the pasta on green. And that is if it serves 6 people, and that will be, a fairly modest serving. You might want to make it serve 5 and bump up the points just a little bit. It just depends on how much you want, because technically there's only 4 servings of pasta in there, but with the chicken in with it and with having a side of veggies with it, I figure that I can stretch it to at least 6 servings. So with the taco pasta, I actually stretched it and made it serve 7 because I felt like it made a lot. And it came out to 2 smart points on purple, 5 on blue, and 7 on green. Now again, if you're working the purple plan, you gotta be really careful about these pasta dishes. I know it can be tempting, at least for me, to think, oh, well, this is only 2 points, so I'll just have a little more. But when I am figuring out the serving sizes, I try to stick with just 1 serving. And if I'm really, really hungry, maybe have another half serving or something. But these pasta dishes, the calories really add up fast. So if you're working the purple plan, you really need to be careful, not going too overboard on these dishes that only have, 2 or 3 points per serving. That's why a lot of times I might add a little something extra, like maybe a little cheese or some kind of topping, or maybe a piece of toast on the side, just to kind of keep me honest about this being a full-size meal. Now with the pot pie, I calculated it by making it serve 6. And that came out to 3 points on purple, 9 on blue, and 10 on green. But I think serving 6, that would be a huge portion. So I think I'm gonna probably make it serve at least 7, if not 8 people, especially since I used all 12 ounces of the egg noodles that were in the bag that I bought. If you wanted to lower the points, maybe don't use all 12 ounces, maybe just use 10. That would lower it by 1 point per serving if you were on green or blue, or just, make it stretch a little bit farther. By the way, I tasted that and it was really good. I was a little surprised. It didn't come out real saucy, like I would expect a pot pie filling to be, but it was really flavorful, I think, because of the seasonings that I used with it. So that's a really good way to get some flavor into your dish without adding points, is, to really think about how to season it in a way that is going to make it even more palatable. So that's what I have for you guys tonight. I know that it's a little fast and furious whenever I'm putting these videos together. I have said it time and time again, I am by no means a professional, quote unquote, YouTuber. Everything is very informal and off the cuff here. I've got kids coming in and out of the house. We're home. I'm trying to do usually more than 1 thing at a time, but hopefully that helps you guys out a little bit and gives you some ideas. I have a lot of ideas for how to do budget-friendly grocery hauls, meal planning, cooking recipes, especially if you're trying to feed a family or work in the WW program. So be looking for those coming up. I've got lots of things kind of rolling through my brain about how to work that in as far as videos go. But as always, thank you so much for stopping by and for watching. I really enjoy hearing from you guys, and I've had lots of great feedback about these budget dinner videos, so I look forward to making more of them for you. I'll check in again really soon with another video. Until then, take care. I hope everybody stays safe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.